Call Marty and Clay at 842-KERN or toll free at 1-800-640-KERN. Now, more of Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180.
We are back on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180. You know, Clay, one day what we're going to do is we're going to give 2 tickets out to anybody that can guess that song and what movie that song is from. Not necessarily the name of the song, but the name of the movie that song is from. One of my favorite movies. But
are you going to tell me what it is?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is.
Go ahead.
Off the air. Tell you now, so that way the first person who calls. Yeah, very good, Clay. Shannon Clay's not too sharp on the uptake, but what are you going to do? Okay, on that note, I wanted to talk about the list.
The list, my infamous list.
Yeah, now let me give you a little background before Shannon talks about her list. We were at, it might have been the Lincoln dinner when you did it, but Shannon had this, that particular list. Shannon had this list of agencies, you know, half of which people don't even know.
State boards and commissions.
State boards and commissions, right, that people don't even know exist. And she was standing at the podium, and somebody had to get on the other side of the podium to hold the end of that list.
It's 20-inch, it's 20 font, or, you know, it's the 20 font, so it's not very big. It's and it's a poster on my door, which, by the way, they are making me take down.
That I want to talk to you about. Okay.
They are making me take it down. It is about 5 feet 9 inches long, 19 inches wide, and it lists all the state boards and commissions that the California has. I've put a highlighter up on the door that says, please eliminate the one that you would like to get eliminated. And you only get to eliminate one, or I would have eliminated all of them.
Right.
Really, I would have. Most all of them. The first one that I chose that had to be eliminated was the California Task Force for the Culturally and Linguistically Challenged Dentist.
Dentist?
Yeah. No, not California Task Force for Culturally and Linguistically Challenged Dentist.
And what do they have? 4 people on that committee, each getting $100,000 a year?
I haven't found that committee yet. I'm working on it, though. Some poor little guy's probably in the corner just
right.
living the good life, and when I find him, it's over.
Okay, so you put the list on your door in your office in Sacramento, and what happened?
And I put a highlighter up there, and people would walk by, and I had a lot of other legislators go, "Oh my God, where'd you get that list?" And so they were putting doors. So we have them on a lot of doors up there, and we were asked to take them down, and then we received an email. And now the way they're getting them off the doors is, you know, we all got new signs in January when we first got up there with our names on the board and or on the door. Now they're saying that the reason why we have to take the sign down is because they're going to give us new signs. And so I went to work on Monday, and, you know, the state's $25 billion in the hole, but we're all getting new signs so that you can't hang posters on the door anymore.
Right. Okay. So
they're not happy with my poster.
You know, I don't think they're happy with you in general.
I don't think so either. It's okay.
But, you know, you bring some life to the party, you know, that's been sadly missing with a lot of people, you know. Because,
it is sad.
Yeah, it is sad in Sacramento.
I think not only signs, but I think many legislators got new cars this year also.
They did. You know, it was interesting. The first day or second day, it could have been the second day, we were all brought into a room, and basically, congratulations, a gentleman from the Rules Committee come in who makes all the rules the Rules Committee makes the rules for the building, and they said, congratulations, you know, you've won your election. If you're a woman, you have the first, you've 120 women since 1850 have held this spot, you know, congratulations. And I'm thinking, wow. And he goes, now go out and buy yourself a new Christmas present. And I was like, I beg your pardon? And he proceeded to tell us how we get a brand new vehicle. And I was appalled because I look at unemployment numbers like 40%, 20%, 9%, 10%. And I have a perfectly nice car, and I'm driving my car back and forth.
Oh, Shannon,
But that's if another legislator takes it, that's their choice,
right.
And I'm not throwing them under the bus or talking about them. It was a personal choice for me.
Sure, it's your decision.
But I haven't seen any. When I looked at the list of people that took cars, I didn't notice that any Republicans that took cars.
I don't know. I don't know who all took cars. I really haven't searched it out to see who took a car. So I don't know who took cars and who didn't take cars.
Do you have a cell phone?
I have my own personal cell phone that I pay for.
Then you're not part of the state cell phone project then?
No, absolutely not. And I subsidize some of the travel out of my own personal income for my district staff to be able to go to the outlining areas. You just got to do what you have to do to make it work and serve the people. It's pretty self-serving up there. It's pretty amazing up there when you look at some of the things that go on. You've got, you say liberal Democrats, you look at, they're looking at regulation after regulation after regulation that is coming down the pike. Like I said, I know that we're all focused on the budget, but after this budget, you have, a bill that's coming down that employers can no longer discriminate against employees under the influence of marijuana. So think about the people who are driving your cars, who are driving your kids to school, who are fixing the brakes on your car, you think about it. Employers can no longer discriminate.
Okay, now, whoa, Shannon, bear with me here, okay? You're talking to two gentlemen, and I use that term loosely, who grew up in the 60s. And
whoa, wait a minute.
It's a Leno bill. He's they say it's medical marijuana use only, but I talked to a friend of mine over across the river, and he made a joke, and he goes, "You get me a list of every assembly member's name, and I'll get you a medical marijuana card for him." Yeah. I thought, what an interesting statement to make.
It is.
Yeah.
I do a lot of bike riding at Venice Beach. I have ever since I was a kid. I still go down there once or twice a month, and as you're passing on the bike path, you can see all the signs for medical marijuana licenses. They're just, the shops are there.
Yes.
So, I imagine a lot of those people don't, Zach is sitting there smiling in the booth. But I imagine a lot of those people, must have some hidden condition that necessitates that they're...
It's pretty easy to get a card.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's pretty easy to get a card.
Yeah.
So it is going to be a detriment to employers. Especially because it conflicts with federal law, especially because, there are safety environmentally sensitive positions. So it is going to be a conflict.
Yeah, definitely. We have a caller on line 3. Robert, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Hi, it's Robert in Rosedale.
How are you, Robert?
Good. Thank you for asking. One of the things that if you could get the legislature and the governor to do is to get rid of agencies like the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, which was actually created in the 1970s, which was supposed to have sunsetted out in 1979, and it's still operating today. They're the people that drafted Proposition 70, which is the Wildlife Park Bond Act, which was just a huge giveaway of public money that cost the state somewhere around $6 billion.
Regulatory agencies, Robert, are somewhat like taxes. None of them sunset, and none of them are temporary.
Right.
Very good point.
As far as if you want to get the budget, reduced, I'm talking right now to the State Energy Commission and to some people in the governor's staff with regards of just changing the way they do operation and maintenance of state buildings and campuses. That would reduce their cost a great deal, and I really would like to get together with you and your staff.
Absolutely. Call the office and talk to Will. I am in Sacramento Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but I'm home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I would be glad to meet with you anytime.
What is that
I would
phone?
love to talk to you.
What is that phone?
395-2995.
Great. Robert, thank you very, very much for the call.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And I'm sorry, what was that phone number again?
395-2995.
Okay. Let's see. Our open line is 842-5376. That's 842-KERN, and we're having a conversation with our district assemblywoman from the 32nd District, Shannon Grove. Clay, did you have a question?
No, I'm just waking up.
I have a list of regulatory agencies that we have, and I have one company that is very actively involved in trying to ease the regulatory burden on employers. And so I've been working with this company, and I just want to go through a list of the agencies that they are regulated by. And they do international trade, so they are regulated by more agencies than just the average company. But most of our companies here in California and in our district are regulated by a large percentage of these agencies. And some of them are like California Highway Patrol and things like that. But you still have under the influence of the California Highway Patrol for transportation and other issues as well. So these are some of the regulatory agencies: California Environmental Protection Agency, Federal Environmental Protection Agency, Cal OSHA, Fed OSHA, Police Department, Fire Department, California Highway Patrol, U.S. Department of Transportation, Sheriff's Department, California Air Resources Board, CARB, South Coast Air Quality Management Board, the Census Bureau, U.S. Department of Commerce, Internal Revenue Service, Franchise Tax Board, National Labor Relations Board, Federal Maritime Commission, State Board of Equalization, Homeland Security, City Businesses License, City Planning Departments, Division of Recycling, California Integrated Waste Management Board, Local Solid Waste Enforcement Agency, State Office of Weight and Measures, County Office of Weights and Measures, Pier Pass Authority, State Water Resources Control Board, Federal Water Resources Control Board. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We are regulated federally, state, and locally, and most of the regulatory agencies overlap each other. If it's federally regulated, it doesn't need to be state regulated. If it's state regulated, it doesn't need to be locally regulated.
I think I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah, it's sad that businesses have to comply with all of these regulatory and oversight agencies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny, Shannon. I have a friend of mine who has a I can't say the exact kind of business it is, but he does a lot of waste disposal in Los Angeles. I've known this guy for 30 some odd years, and the poor guy looks like he's in his 70s. He said every day he has a state regulator coming in telling him to do something contrary to what the federal regulator told him.
Absolutely.
To do. And
the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing.
No, and it's an absolute nightmare. And I said, well, why don't you leave the state? Because everybody else in your industry has. He said, are you kidding me? He said, if I leave the state, they're going to get me for anything we may have potentially done to the land here, supposedly. And he said, I'll be in court for the rest of my life. He said, so I can't stay and I can't leave. He's kind of in a catch-22.
Businesses, I had a relocation coach. I had an opportunity to talk to a relocation coach, and businesses are leaving our state. Those that cannot leave our state are investing their capital investments outside of our state, which is just as bad as leaving the state. And so, the simplistic way that the liberal Democrats look at this situation is that, well, if we changed a few regulations, they would come back. What's a 20-year investment to leave this state? And just because you change a simple regulation, they're not coming back. Mm-hmm. We've got to stop businesses from leaving, and we've got to get people to invest capital investments back in our state instead of in other states and other nations.
Well, not only leaving, but try to open a business in this state, and the regulations and the forms and the taxes you're required to file and the taxes you're required to pay.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make you want to open a business in this state.
No, it does not. It's a tax burdensome state, and the regulatory process. We had a solar company, and they're all about green energy, and we tried to get a solar company to open a facility outside of Ridgecrest, where the sun is in the desert, obviously. And they finally threw their hands up and left after study after study after study, and then finally having to comply with a study on a Mojave ground squirrel.
Mm-hmm. We'll be back in a minute on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180.